The world is changing faster than you can imagine. You spend 5 to 10% of your time just keeping up with the technology. Yet, how much time do your customers spend keeping up with technology? The challenge that we face is that technology changes at an exponential rate, thanks to Moore's Law. Yet your customers grow at a logarithmic rate, 10% per year compounded annually until they reach that asymptote, that level, that represents the cognitive capacity of their top officer. And what we're noticing here is that we're reaching this place to where there's massive disruption in lots of industries because of Martek's law. A lot of household names have disappeared. Of the original Dow Jones Industrial Average list, there's only one left, and that's GE. That's it. The rest of them are gone. And that's going to continue to change like this over time. So as the capacity of your customers' executives start to peak out, what we assume is careful wisdom is actually just fatigue. And if you're in the business of selling technology, that should scare you just a little bit. Mark Benioff points out that today, companies are no longer competing against each other. They're competing against speed. How quickly can they adapt and adopt to this leading technology? And remember when you used to have to go to work? Remember that? And the reason why is because that's where your computer terminated to the data center network, and that's where your phone line connected to your desk set. That's no longer the case. We no longer go to work, we just work. And the end result is we don't care where the data center exists or even that it exists. And if you sell to data centers, then you should be a little bit scared.
You know, I've been to a lot of events like this that have been thrown by distributors for the last 10, 12 years. And this was by far the first event that I've actually walked away from with many things to put in my bag, right? Lots of notes, lots of good opportunity to take next week to my customers and start implementing some of the things that we talked about today. It wasn't just one nugget. Usually I go to these type of events and I'm looking for just one thing that I can take away, and I feel like it was a good time spent. But today, I had sheets of notes.
Nothing is being untouched. So what do all of these have in common that I just shared with you? What do you think it is? What do they all have in common? Oh, they're scary? Yeah, but you're consuming them all the time. What they have in common is they create a frictionless customer experience. Watching movies is frictionless. Listening to music is frictionless. Buying something is frictionless. Getting transportation is frictionless. Learning is frictionless. And my question to you is, how much friction are you throwing into the mix for your customers? If you can't make it dead simple to get IT services, you're going to be Ubered. And quite frankly, the friction that has been created by the IT departments saying no is the reason why IT departments are failing. I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. See, we're transitioning from an age of ownership to an age of frictionless access. As baby boomers, those of you who are baby boomers, we were raised with the concept of own the means of production. That's why we bought 5 years worth of IT up front, and we architected them and we engineered them together, even though we knew that that IT was being purchased at the maximum possible price. IT is the most rapidly declining asset in the entire organization. Because of Moore's Law, it's worth half of what it was in the next year. And yet we buy for 5 years in advance, over-provisioned for 2, under-provisioned for 3. That is no longer a viable business model when we have other alternatives. The days of architecting data centers for 5 years for organizations is over. And that should scare you just a little bit. See, we're moving from that baby boomer value of pay for ownership with the underlying fear of loss, and that's why we insure everything, to we're moving to a millennial view of the world of paying for access. We rent everything, we lease everything. And when that happens, you have no longer a fear of loss. There's nothing to lose, it's somebody else's, woohoo! But what comes along with that is a fear of missing out. Because if you can change vendors, 30-day notice, you want to see what else is out there. And if you think this is going to cause chaos, you'd be right. This changes completely how we sell things. And the end result of this is that big companies are going to be going away. Information Age predicted in April of this year that 40% of the Fortune 500 won't exist in 10 years because they won't survive the digital disruption of cloud, of the Internet of Things, of who needs a data center, who cares about the data center. What do you think? You think this is true? I think it's going to be more than that. Because a lot of the Fortune 500 haven't figured out the frictionless thing yet. You think about your IT vendors right now, how hard do they make it for you to place an order? That should scare you just a little bit. If we don't make it frictionless, my friends, we ain't gonna do it.
I found this after 25 years in the industry. I was 18 years at IBM, an executive there. Doing this a long time. This is one of the most pragmatic and I think actionable seminars I've ever been to, and I think it has a huge potential to help our business grow quicker and faster than I thought we could.
I want you to know this stuff, my friends. It's really important. And with that, it's such a delight to be a part of you. Thank you for all you do. Let's make a difference in the world.
Mark.